Hey, guess what? We are back with the next video, and well, today I want to talk about trend prediction. Trend prediction inside a Zabbix. So this once again will be a how-to, the tutorial, how to configure stuff inside a monitoring solution called Zabbix. And I have the same demo installation open, which is Zabbix 4.0.2. I have a virtual machine up and running, but we don't need SSH, we don't need a Linux CLI for this task, so no Linux knowledge is required. All of the stuff that we will be doing to configure this is done only inside the front end, the GUI of the Zabbix. So what is a trend prediction? Let's say normally when we talk about monitoring, we are talking about live coming in data inside our monitoring software. So we are pulling the data from our hosts, from our data sources, and we are evaluating this data on the fly. If it reaches some of our specified thresholds inside the triggers, it means it is a problem, we get a notification. So basically, we are reacting after the problem happened, or at least very close to the moment when the problem happened. But using the trend prediction, we could react proactively. So instead of being notified that something happened, we could be notified that we have, let's say, 1 week left until our specified threshold will be reached. Or after 1 week, the predicted value is like this, and you can decide, should you do something already now before the problem happened, or can you wait a couple of days before doing that? Before we continue, let's just think about trend prediction. So what can we exactly predict? There is a functionality to predict a value and predict how much time we have left until the specified value is reached inside a Zabbix. But does that mean that we can predict absolutely everything? And the answer is absolutely not. You can configure the part where Zabbix will predict the stock prices or the weather, the temperature for tomorrow, but the prediction, 99%, will be not accurate. It will be false. Because using the things that we have, and in our case, we're talking only about historical metrics, it is not enough to predict the values for the future. Can we predict a CPU load after 1 week or 1 month? We can try, we can configure that, but again, the metrics won't be precise because a CPU load is not really a predictable metric. It depends from very many things and stuff that might be happening on the system. But the good example for the prediction is the disk space. It's absolutely common thing that you are monitoring a disk space on your systems and you have a trigger specified that will inform you when the free disk space will drop below, let's say, 2%. But what's the bad thing? You receive an email. The free disk space on C drive on host 1 is below 2%. That's a problem. You don't have time to, I don't know, think, gather some information. You need to fix it, and basically as fast as possible, because it's already very close to the problem. Instead, you could configure a trend prediction, and instead of receiving, hey, it is below 2% right now, you could receive information that, hey, Zabbix predicted that after 1 week, the free disk space on the host will be below 2%. So you have 7 days to fix the problem. When you have time, without any rush, log into the system, clean the temporary files, add the disk space, and solve the problems before they even happen. How can we do that? Well, just because of these two functions, the trigger functions. And you can read basically the same information about them in the documentation in the supported trigger functions page. Appendixes, triggers, supported trigger functions. Search for forecast and for the time left. What's the difference in these two functions? The time left will predict and inform you when you will have less than specified threshold until the specified value will be reached. So this example will fire and will raise a problem when there will be less than 1 hour until 200 megs threshold is reached on the file system, and it will be taking into account 1 day of the history. These parameters can be changed. Look, we have a function where we have ability to choose the time of the evaluation or the number of the values, and this will be the first parameter, like 1 day. We are taking into account 1 day of the history. You can increase it. We could take 7 days. Second, second number, time shift, evaluation period threshold value to reach. Not true, but okay. The time shift means that we're taking the same 7 days of the history, but let's say 1 day ahead. So basically we are ignoring the data today. And this is optional parameter inside the brackets, so it's not mandatory to use it. The fit function used to analyze the data and predict. Again, optional, not mandatory. The default value will be linear, and this depends on the style, the behavior of the data on which you are configuring the prediction. And if you don't know the good reason why should you choose the polynomial, exponential, power, or something else, just leave it as it is in the default in the linear. And example, yeah, the item time left function, we're taking 7 days of the history. When it will predict that we have less than 1 hour left till it will reach 200 megs, it will inform us about the problem. And another case is a forecast. Same parameters, seconds or numbers of the values, time shift, time, fit, and mode. We can ignore again most of them, and example, host, item, forecast function, we're using 7 days of the history, we're predicting 7 days ahead, so after 1 week. And if Zabbix will predict that after 1 week you will have less than 100 megs free disk space, it will raise a problem. The trigger will fire. You can change these again. Let's say I am using 14 days of the history to predict, and I am predicting what will happen tomorrow. Think about what is happening when you are changing the evaluation period of the data. The larger will be the period, the more precise technically will be a prediction. But at the same time, it will react on the rapid changes much slower. Let's say we have 14 days. We are evaluating 14 days, and 13 days the value sticks around, let's say we're talking about a CPU load, sticks around 10 and 40. And then 1 day, the last day, it is 70 to 90. The prediction will be a lot less, a lot lower than if we would be using same 7 days, and 5 days or 6 days would be this value, and 1 day would be this value. So it is good to use larger time period, but be careful, it won't react as fast as smaller period. Then the next part, these are the triggers. But triggers are cool, but we want to see the graphs. And we can do that with the calculated items. You can create calculated items to actually visualize the stuff that Zabbix predicted. And well, that was the idea of this video. So let's go to the front end. We have our Zabbix server host, and I will be using the system CPU load, just because it has more rapidly changing metrics. I will need this one. I will just copy paste it here. Let's see the graph. The metrics is very rapidly changing, so it will be more interesting. Let's go to the configuration. I will need to create a new item in my Zabbix server host. Create a new item. The forecast type of the item will be calculated, always, not Zabbix agent, not SNMP, calculated. And in the calculated item types, you are able to figure out your own key. That can be anything. just following the syntax of the keys. In the formula, you need to type this. We are using the forecast function, forecast, on which item key we are predicting. And this one, system CPU load per CPU average. Let's take 30 minutes of the historical values and predict the value after 30 minutes. This is the CPU load, so the type of information will be float, and update interval, let's make it quick, 5 seconds. That's it. Add. Let me still open my CLI just to config cache reload, because we don't want to wait. Let's go to the latest data. How did I call this item? Forecast. No, not this. Monitoring latest data on our Zabbix server. The forecast. Not supported. Okay, we missed the quotes. See, I am working on the item key with the brackets, which means that we need to quote it. Otherwise, Zabbix won't understand which part is actually the item key and where there are some new parameters. So click update. Let me just quickly check that I have this. 1 second. That's just to save us some time. And reload the config cache again. There we go. Well, Zabbix predicted that our CPU load will be minus 0.23 after 30 minutes. And, well, obviously the CPU load can be minus. And why do we see that? Because, first of all, we're using very small time frame of the evaluation, just 30 minutes. And the second most important thing, I already told you, the CPU load is not really predictable. We can view this on the graph, but what's important here? See, this is a prediction after 30 minutes, but it is displaying now. We are not seeing on the graph this as the future. In the graph, it is displayed as current moment, and that is the limitation of the Zabbix trend prediction currently. It is not possible to see the value in the future by default, but if you want to see that, you can create a new item. You can create a new item, let's say call it the last value, which will be again be calculated, and we will use this formula. The last, here you need to put the forecast item key, the one that we created previously. Call it last, again float, 30 seconds, whatever else. We will be showing a first value after 30 minutes. Click add, monitoring latest data, reload the config cache. You don't need to do this, by the way, on your NE system. I'm just saving us 1 minute of the time, so don't copy paste to see what happens. Last, and the item is not supported, which is absolutely predictable. It's obvious. This item will become supported after 30 minutes because in the formula we specified that we are taking the first value after 30 minutes from the forecast item, and I added my forecast item 2 minutes ago. That's why there are no values after 30 minutes yet. After 30 minutes, that item will become supported, and that item will be displaying the actual prediction. And you can visualize all 3 items, the forecast, the last item, and the actual CPU load. And you can compare how precise the prediction was made by the Zabbix. So that's about it. This is very mind-blowing and quite a complicated to understand thing. So basically what you should do, just open the documentation, read about it, read about the trend prediction, configure some test items, just let them run for a day, for a week, see how they behave. I will link in the description of the video this forecasting trigger functions, the guide, the information, how everything is happening, what kind of formulas are used. So if you like the math, this will explain a lot more than I did, most likely, definitely. And well, yeah, you should definitely use this. The trend prediction is available inside Zabbix since 3.0, but I would not say that it is very popular functionality. A lot of people who are using Zabbix are not using trend prediction at all. I don't know why. Maybe they don't know how to use it, they don't see the benefit, but there is. So go ahead, try, learn something new, and well, good luck. As usually, the comments, feedback, subscriptions, likes, the negative feedback, everything below. See you, I don't know, probably not tomorrow, but in a bright future. Thank you, and goodbye.